Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatina Jabin Jasnan. My metric number is 2000457.
Hi, my name is Chia Jing Pei. My metric number is 201939.
Hi, my name is Tan Di Hui. My metric number is 203411.
So the topic of our presentation today is health risks of processed food. Our presentation will be divided into 3 parts. The first one is introduction. The second one will be the 4 health risks of processed food. And the last one will be the conclusion. So before we go into more detail about processed food, health risks of processed food, let me give you a view. What is actually a processed food? Processed food is any food that is cooked, canned, frozen, packaged, or undergo some modification in nutritional composition. Processed food mostly also undergo variety of processes such as fortifying, preserving, and so on. After that, in recent years, the daily food intake of processed food has increased dramatically. In only one day, about 20 until 46% of humans around the world take a lot of processed food. And then processed food actually can be divided into 2 types. The first one is chemically processed food and mechanical processed food. What is the difference between these 2 types of processed food? Mechanical processed food such as pasteurization, heating the vegetables, and breeding the beef does not necessarily make it unhelpful for the human consumption. But in contra, for the chemically processed food, where many manufacturers add lots of artificial ingredients such as chemical substance, artificial coloring, sweetener, and flavoring, may give a bad impact to humans' health. So, that is the difference between chemically and mechanically processed food. People prefer to choose processed food compared to healthy and nutritious food. This is because processed food tend to taste good, and it is also convenient. We don't have to take much time to cook it, and then it is quite inexpensive. Yes, it is affordable. Okay, let's move to the first point of our presentation, which is processed food. When it have a full of artificial ingredients, it can give a health risk to humans' health. Processed food, such as they have a lot of artificial ingredients. For example, artificial coloring. So artificial coloring such as red 40, blue 1, yellow 5, and yellow 6 can give allergic reaction to some people. And then some study also show that these color dyes, artificial color dyes, will promote hyperactivity in children. After that, grade 3, also we call it as erythrocyte, can promote thyroid tumors in human body. So we need to consume more free artificial coloring food and choose more nutritious food. That's all for me. Let's move to the second point, changing being.
Now we come to the second point, which is processed food will cause obesity and chronic disease. According to the study of Bethel College School in USA in 2018, there is about 64% of students which are in normal weight, and there is about 29% of college students which are obesity or overweight. And what is the reason that causing this? First is because college students lack of time, lack of food option in the college. They tend to choose food according to taste, time, convenience, and price, but not the nutritional values. And however, do they know that processed food contain high level of fat, sodium, and sugar. Highly processed food will contain unhealthy level of fat, sodium, and sugar. And these ingredients in the food will make the food to taste better, but it will also lead to serious chronic disease, such as obesity, hypertension, heart disease. Hence, can be denied that processed food will associated with elevated blood glucose, elevated blood pressure, and elevated cholesterol. According to Dr. Chop, the chairman of the Partnership to Fight Chronic Disease, once said, while the quantity of the calories is an issue, perhaps more important is the composition of the calories that can and does contribute to chronic disease. When college students lack of nutrients because less consume of fresh vegetables and sugar, and when this habit lasts for a long time, this will eventually causing serious health issue and serious chronic disease. In short, processed food will cause chronic disease and obesity. Now we have our third point. Processed food is caloric dense and addicting. Friends, what will you do when you feel stressed? For example, tomorrow is the due date of your assignment and you haven't done yet. What will you do? I trust that many of you will say, eat. And what you eat? Junk food. Junk food is also a type of processed food which are caloric dense and lack of nutritional values. And junk food is low in satiation value. This means that when you eat it, you won't feel full, and what you feel is dissatisfied, and this will lead you to overeat and causing addiction. And the current research also shows that the processed food with added fat and refined carbohydrate will cause addictive like eating. And this will make us to overindulge in junk food, which is processed food, and eventually will cause us to consume more calories than we realize. For example, one piece of Oreo contains 50 calories, when one cup of green bean is only 44 calories. Can you know the difference of the portion? The Oreo is only in one bite and it costs 50 calories. Hence, this is an example of how calorie dense of junk food is. And this processed food will also cause our brains feel good because the junk food and processed food will also have the potential for availability because of the craving and enjoyment of our brain field. Hence, in short, the third point is processed food is caloric dense and will cause addiction. To the next point, we have the Hui.
Okay. Last but not least, the processed food will also increase the risk of cancer. According to the study that done by the BMJ, they stated that for every 10% increase in the consumption of processed food will cause a 12% increase in the risk of cancer in general and an 11% increase the risk of breast cancer. But how does processed food increase the risk of breast cancer? Well, as we know that processed food consists lots of unhealthy fat, especially trans fat. The trans fat in processed food will cause obesity and is associated with hormonal imbalance. This hormonal imbalance in our body will cause chronic inflammation on cells, especially breast cells, and eventually will cause breast cancer. Besides, the extra fat in the processed food will also make extra estrogen, which will make extra breast cell growth. This extra cell growth will also develop breast cancer. So how does we can decrease the risk of getting breast cancer? Now, there is a study that suggests that eating a diet that has minimally processed food, such as vegetables and fruits, can decrease the risk of getting breast cancer. Secondly, the processed food also can increase the risk of getting endometrial cancer. Now, where is the location of endometrium? Endometrium is part of female reproductive organ, and here is. So as we know that processed food also consists lots of sugar. This sugar content will promote insulin production and eventually will cause hyperinsulinemia. The insulin will cause cell proliferation and tumor cell growth on endometrial tissue. This mutated endometrial tissue will finally cause endometrial cancer. Besides, there is also evidence that show that hyperinsulinemia may play a significant role in the onset of ovarian hyperandrogenism through anovulation and decreased progesterone level, which may increase the risk of getting endometrial cancer. So, in conclusion, we have seen that the health risk of processed food is full of artificial ingredients, it causes obesity and chronic disease, is caloric dense and addicting, and lastly, it increases the risk of getting cancer. So, as the word of Roman poet Horace, he has said that healthy eating is a way of life. So, let's establish a routine which is simple and livable. So, let's eating healthy but put aside the processed food from now onwards. That's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.